back. Actor Mirza recently joined a gathering of policymakers and leaders from around the world at the United Nations General Assembly Sustainable Development Goals Summit in New York. SDGs ranging from ending poverty, accessing clean water, sanitation and fixing climate change. In fact, SDGs were in focus during the recent G20 that was held in India. Well, Mirza joins us now. You're the UN Secretary General's advocate for Sustainable Development Goals, and it's always a pleasure to have you on NDTV. Tell us about the gathering and tell us about, the issues that were raised and the focus.
Thank you for having me, Gargi. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Climate ambition was the center of focus. As we all know, climate crisis is one of the three crises that the world is experiencing right now, with biodiversity loss and pollution. And the focus really is on mitigation, adaptation, ensuring that policymakers, governments really uphold the Paris Agreement of limiting temperature rise to 1.5 degrees, which is the pre-industrial level. But more than anything else, Gargi, I think what was truly awe-inspiring was the participation of civil society. Individuals who came to the fore, committing and demonstrating through personal action the kind of contributions they are willing to make and are already making towards furthering the 2030 agenda. I think the Sustainable Development Goals are the most powerful agreement that the world has collectively, agreed on in 2015. And if all of us, including industries, organizations, governments, policymakers, and individuals can do our part to contribute to achieving these goals, we still can, even though we're way off track. And at halftime, we're only about 50% on track. And there have been really terrible setbacks because of, the changing climate and COVID and war, and the fragmentation and polarization that the world is experiencing. It's a terrible time for a lot of
absolutely people. The kind of challenges the world has faced recently. But you're also quoted as saying that it's time to personalize sustainable development goals. If you could, elaborate a bit on that.
Gargi, I've now been an advocate for the goals for 5 years, and I have recognized that the goals are personal because, they're so deeply tied into human values and everything that's good for everyone. And if all of us can just identify the goals that resonate most deeply in our lives and things that we can contribute to, it can really, really help with advancing the goals. For example, Goal 13, climate action, has been the center of my focus for many years. It will continue to be until we achieve, a healthier planet for everyone. But alongside that, I think there are several other goals, whether it's gender equality, whether it's quality education, whether it's, access to safe and healthy water, life on land, life below water. It's every single goal gives every individual the opportunity to relate to it, identify it as something that really, calls out to them, and start making that contribution towards achieving.
And we've seen that, a lot of developing countries have not been able to, fulfill their commitments to SDGs. And there's also, this whole debate or war of words rather from, the developed nations developing, that we need more help from developing nations. And somehow these issues always get stuck there.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is that the developed nations of the world have contributed significantly to the crisis that we're experiencing. And the Green Climate Fund should have become operational by now. And the commitment to the, I think it was, if I'm not wrong, 6 trillion by 2030 is what developing countries need to adapt to climate and to do, build on climate resilience and educate people and children especially. There's a lot of work to be done, and that needs money. And the financial institutions of the world need to change the way they do business, the way they, mobilize funds. And it's a very, very critical debate. it is a very
Right.
relevant debate, and it's absolutely pertinent for developing nations to be asking for this money. Having said that, I think the fact that India has adopted the SDGs and has started to apply them across all national policy, and then we are seeing civil society organizations, we are seeing the work that individuals and industries are beginning to do in innovation, in grassroots adaptation, in the changes that we're seeing in the way agricultural practices, especially small scale agriculture, is,
Right.
being supported. And I think we have the ability to make the changes and start adapting and shifting. Yes, the money would make a big difference. It would help us speed up the process. So,
Right, we have to keep that
Yeah.
pressure going, and really, Diya, thank you for putting so much effort in this and always speaking out on these issues. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you for the time, Gargi, for highlighting the SDGs. Thank you.